Now, the Postgres SQL you are going to see in its extension is going to be way very much. Can you see? You are going to be very, very much. Now, the best one for you to download is the one that is actually being made by Microsoft. You see, you have one that is made by database clients. You see different ones. But the best one for you to actually download is the one made by Microsoft. So the only thing you just need to do is you click on it. Once you click on it, it's going to bring something like this out. So it means, you see, I've already installed it. That's why it's bringing out either disable or uninstall. Now, once you download it, this elephant logo is going to appear at this side of the navigator here. So, which is going to be this. And that is actually what I'm going to be using for today. Now, another thing to take note is this. If you want to use VS Code for any of your SQL programming language or any of your SQL querying language, you are going to be in need of a database. Like I said earlier, I am not having access to the application based because normally sorry for using this as an example, in cloud deployment, we call something cloud modeling. Cloud modeling means there are three types of cloud modeling. We have the IaaS, we have the SaaS, and we have the PaaS. IaaS actually means infrastructure as a service. We have platform as a service, we have software as a service. Now, a typical example of software as a services are the likes of Microsoft environments, where you have your Word, your Excel, and all. So everything is actually being finished back end. The only thing you just need to do is just for you to query whatever you want to query. That is just the only thing basically you need to do. Now, PaaS is actually platform as a services whereby they build for you maybe like a website, then you have a developer that is actually maintaining that. Now that's PaaS. IaaS is actually what I'm trying to show you here. Now, once you've been able to download your extension, which is the Postgres SQL having an elephant logo, please take note, it has to be the one developed by Microsoft for you not to have issues. Now, once you are able to actually do that, the next thing you need to do is you need to have a cloud database. Now, we have different forms of cloud database. We have heard of the like of Azure, we have heard of the like of AWS as Amazon Web Services, but all these ones actually need to be paid. Now, we have some free versions you can actually use. The likes of the free version, we have the new base, we have the super base, and we have the render. Now, the one I'm currently going to be using for us today is what they call the Neon. That's Neon. That's like what they call the Neon. Now, let me come here. Now, this is the super base. This is the super base. Now, what these things actually do, like I said earlier, we have PaaS, platform as a services. I am going to be storing whatever query I'm doing on my VS Code on this platform, which is a super base platform. Now, I have the Neon, which is the one I'm currently using, and you can see I can actually track all the changes of whatever I'm doing there. Now, you will see the storage is almost even full, 0.5 to 0.5. So this is actually another one you can do. Then you can also use render. Render is actually, all these are actually, they call them cloud database. Now, cloud database in the sense that you can create a database on them. So the database is going to be like a web database. Then you can query whatever you want to query from there. Now, the essence of actually me showing you this is you might actually come to a situation whereby you are not having access to the original laptop. For a typical example, this is a complete laptop. So it comes with a lot of restrictions whereby you cannot download things like SQL, you cannot download things like MySQL, Postgres database, and what's it called, and SSNS on it. So what do you think I have to do? I have to find an alternative. Finding an alternative is actually what lets me to using either render, Neon as a database, or Superbase. Now, the ways of doing this is you just go to search the normal searching application, you type render.com. Once you type render.com, it's going to bring you to, let me show you the one I used. So you type Neon, Neon. So you type Neon serverless Postgres, you see something like this. It comes with this sign. So then the only thing you need to do is just you register your account. Once you register your account, you see you come to login. Now, the process of logging in, you can register with use of a Tutor account, register with use of a So once you do that, it's going to bring you here. Now, the next thing you are going to need a connection, which is connect. All the time actually you have now you see this particular one is like the password registration code. So the password is actually code. Now, once you actually get your hand in touch with this, you come then you need it as a connection string so that everything is going to be attached like this. You copy it, you come towards the code, you come to your VS Code. Now, at this, once you click on this relevant sign, it's going to bring something like this. Now, if you notice on my own side, I have three. You see something like BPG, EPH, and EPV2. Now, this has actually the database I created online. So if you want to add your own connection server, which is actually this you copied here,
This one does
you
not have
just click
this.
on
I want to download the data
something
set.
like
Okay.
add new
Don't
connections.
you?
Once you
Want
click
to
on
see
your
the
add new
data set here,
connections,
but does
then
not have
automatically you are going to see something like a connection string, which
looks
is this.
I'm looking for another way to do
So you
it.
paste whatever connection string you have, you paste it
This
inside
doesn't
this,
matter to the data
then
set.
you click on save and connect. Then automatically your database is going to be created for you online. Now, the essence of showing you this, like I said earlier, I am still apologizing. I don't have the application base for now. And the work I am actually doing does not warrant me to be using the application base. I have to be using the what's it called the platform based server, which is actually the quickest and the easiest way to automate whatever I want to automate. Now we will be going to what's it called to SQL. Like I said earlier, SQL is actually very simple. Now, what I'm just going to be taking you through today is going to be a little like a very easy and let me put it as a straightforward process. Now, one of it is we all know what they call database. We all know what they call DBMS, that's database management system. A database is actually where you store whatever you need to store. For a simple example, you have a cupboard in your house. Now, in your cupboard, you have places where you store your clothes, you have places where you store your iron clothes, you have places where you store what's it called? Let me put it as your shoe. That's where the shoe racks are. You have places where you put your books. Now, these are actually what's called databases. Your cupboard is actually your database. Now, each database is now consisting of a data mart. Data mart is actually what's it called? The composer, a little composer that makes up your database. For example, your cupboard or your wardrobe, either wall or all these attached one. Your wardrobe is actually what's called your database. Now, each of these database, where you put your ironed clothes, that's the data mart one. Where you put your ironed one, that's the data mart two. Where you put actually maybe the books you need or something like that, that's your data mart three. MARTS, that's what I'm saying as data mats. Now, that is actually what's called the database. Now, the data you want to work with is each pieces of clothes inside your wardrobe. That is actually the data. Like I said earlier, your database is your wardrobe. The data mart is actually each component, maybe where you store this, where you store this, where you store this. Now, the data you are working with is now the pieces of clothes or the pieces of shoe or the pieces of books
Please,
inside your wardrobe
I'll be modding up
is
on it.
your data.
So this is ready for
Now,
2 days.
database management
Let's
system
start
is
tomorrow.
now
Let's do
how do you
SQL.
maintain your wardrobe?
So, but yeah, you can actually
Is
get
it that
inside.
you
You
just
can actually
actually leave
start our own
everything, what's
SQL.
it called,
So,
scattered,
you can
or
actually get one or
cobwebs are
two
going
things
to be
because
there,
this different
places
persons
whereby
are
on your books you
okay.
see
This one
dust?
is
That is the
SQL. So,
DBMS. How do you
I
maintain
don't know.
that particular
And
wardrobe?
this
And
software is
how do
taking.
you
I won't be
maintain
taking that
each
software. I'll
data
be taking
inside your wardrobe? That is each of your clothes, each of your
this as
what's
well
it
that has
called?
to do.
Each of your
But it's
shoes,
taking
each
Postgres
of
SQL.
your whatever you are putting inside your
That's what
wardrobe
I use.
again, how do you maintain it? That is the DBMS. Now, in database, we have something called tables, and I'm very sure that you are all familiar with that. Table is actually what we call table consists of both columns and rows. I'm very sure you are familiar with that by now. So tables is actually for every table you must always see a column and you must always see a row. Now, what does row means? Rows are actually entities and columns are actually attributes. That is, what I mean by columns are actually attributes. For a simple example, if we all go to our Excel sheet back, you see something like column A, B, C, D, E, F. Columns are always in alphabet and your rows are always in number. That's one key to it. You should use to know it. Columns are always in alphabet and your rows are always what's it called in number. Now, in your table, like I said earlier, tables consist of columns and actually rows. We have something called constraint and we have something called data type. Please, are we am I hope I'm not too fast? And are we understanding what I'm saying? Please, any response on anything so far?
Yeah.
Okay. See reactions. So let's continue with that. So, like I said earlier, tables consist of rows and columns. Now we have something called data types. Data types are actually what's it called? Let me use a real life scenario. Okay. Now this is what data type means. Your wardrobe is actually consisting of clothes, and your wardrobe is also consisting of books. At the same time, it's also consisting of different kinds of shoes. Now, if you want your clothes to be of a certain color and not of another color, for a simple example, everyone actually in this meeting, we all have clothes of different colors. We all have clothes of different categories. For a simple example, you might actually be a fan of suits. You might be a fan of what's it called? Of they call this. Let me say Korean style shirts. You might be a fan of maybe like all these pattern shirts. Now, if you are a fan of suits, some can actually be a fan of, let me put it as all these native, like the like of lace and pros, guineas and co. Now, these things I'm actually saying, you are going deeper into the type of clothes you like. That means that is actually your data type. If your clothes is actually what's it called? If your clothes is a long sleeve with green color, that is data type of that particular clothes.
Okay, I should
I,
join. The airport, I don't
I
know.
have a set of numbers. This is actually what I mean by set. Set we have sets. I'm very sorry for pitching into this. I have a set of numbers, sets, a set of most of numbers like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we all know numbers are not alphabets. We know our alphabet are A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, right? Yes. Now we also know our numbers are 1 to infinity, which is NP absolute squared of infinity. Yes. Now, if I want automatically, I know that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are the numbers, and I know that A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H are alphabets. Now, for me to know the kind of data types that are particular to each of these numbers, the system is actually already designed in a way that once you put in like numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or whatever you actually put in, it is automatically detected as an integer. So we have something they call integer. Integer actually means numbers. Now these are actually the types of data forms in SQL. We have integers, or is either you wrote it is that you can write it as int, or you can write it as the normal integer, which is actually this. Now we have something like varchar. Varchar means that's a variable character. Variable character actually means maybe you want to put variable character means alphabet. But if you notice there's an n in between this, the open bracket and close bracket, that n means the number of characters you want it to be. Maybe you want it to be a maximum of 100 characters. For take example, we have emails of people so at gmail.com, so at gmail.com. Now, if you count the numbers of characters in this email, you notice some are actually up to 17, 18, 19, 20. Now, that is the n. It means if I want to actually represent an email and I want it to, maybe I want to put the length of the string should actually be of maybe like 100 or 200. So it means once I put anything like 20 here, this variable character I am putting cannot exceed 20. That is why in this particular aspect, you need to be very careful the kind of variable characters you are putting. If not, you have to use the word, you have to alter the particular column so as to change the kind of constraints or the data types used. Now we have integers. Integers are actually numbers. Varchars are actually alphabets. Now we have something like serial. Now, like I said earlier, I am using PostgreSQL. Some of you might actually be using
Okay, you are there.
MySQL, while some might actually be using the Microsoft SQL. That's the life of SSMS. Now, if you want automatic numbering, what I mean by automatic numbering is once you create a particular table, you want the number to be like to start following each other 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6. Once you keep inserting to your table, you don't want to stress yourself of putting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ID there. In Postgres, we are going to insert the data type serial, serial, which is actually this. You are going to insert this into your what's it called, into your data type. Now I'm going to show us a typical example of how this works, but I just quickly want to explain it. Now, serial
I'm
is actually what is used as
something is done. But still,
automatic increment. That's increment of numbers
Yeah, connect
in
it now.
Postgres.
I
Now,
got the
if you want
speaker.
to use,
You
if you
don't
are
have to
working
tell
with SSMS,
the
they
speaker
call
supposed to be using
something
this speaker.
identity one of one. They
Let's
call
see.
something identity 1, comma 1.
It does not
Now,
have to wait.
identity 1, comma
Maybe
1
as
is used in SSMS like Microsoft SQL. This is actually auto increment. Auto increment means it should actually keep increasing by one. It should start at one, then keep increasing by one. That is, once the number is actually starting at one, the next number is going to be
Okay,
two,
this is standard.
3, 4, 5 till infinite like that.
I've put
Now,
this
if they are
okay.
working with my SQL actually does not work.
This is
My
live.
SQL does not work with my
Don't
SQL
worry.
works with
By the time we
call it
we have
auto increment.
thousands.
Now, auto increment is also the same
This
thing
is
as
actually
an
very easy to
integer.
use.
That is automatic increment of numbers. Now, you see these three, these are actually the ways of putting an automatic numbering system. You know, for example, in Excel, you input 1, 2, 3. Once you highlight the 1, 2, 3, and you see, you click on, let me put it as the right
This is
button,
better. It's
then you
clear.
drag down. You see
I
something
want
like Excel is going to automatically consider the number for you, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That is actually automatic increments. So
to
instead of
master.
you putting in and out, putting in and out, putting in and out, you use, if you are using Postgres, you use serial. If you are using SSMS, you use identity one of one. If you are using MySQL, you use auto increment. Now we have something called text. Text is actually the differences between text and integer when it comes to SQL is that integer only accepts numbers. Text accepts both numbers and alphabets. For a typical example, integer here, you might actually be putting 1, 2, 3, 4, and codes like that. But text can actually accept one QWE, maybe like HJT2. Text is going to accept it like this. So that is actually the difference between. So you need to be careful the kind of data type you put in for whatever the table you're actually creating. If you want it to actually to be text, that is, you want it to accept both word and what's it called numbers, you put your data type as text. Timestamp is actually what we are all familiar with. That's the time and the normal timestamp. That is, it is going to come as the day, the year, the month, and then the day. Then it's going to put in the hours, the minute, and the seconds. That's what they call timestamp. That is, it's going to come as year, month, day. Then you see something like hours, minutes, and then your seconds. That is actually the timestamp. Now, the difference between timestamp and date data type is date data type is only going to give you the year, the month, and the day without the hours and the seconds.
Yes.
That is different between the two. Now, Boolean is actually what they call true or false function. True or false function. That's what they call Boolean. Maybe you are actually putting in what you are creating a table and you want the only value to be in that table to be true or false. For a typical example, you created a table of is underscore MANE, that is male. Now you want to, the only thing you just want it to be there is just true or false. Then you set the data type of that particular column to be Boolean. So it is only going to accept true or false. If anything apart from true or false is actually being included into that column, it's going to bring out an error. Now, float is actually decimal. We all know what float is. Now, double precision and numeric is the same thing. The only difference is double precision is actually working the same way float is working, that is decimal. But the only thing about numeric is once you use numeric as a data type, you have to put the number of decimal forms
It's
you
not as
want it
if
to
after
appear there.
Excel,
That
you
is the
might actually
difference.
be learning
You
Power
have to put the number of data forms you want it to appear there.
Then
Now, that is what all
you
about
actually
data
take
types.
SQL
Please, I
yeah.
hope you understand the different data
Yeah.
types we have.
So,
Okay. Is there any question regarding the data types you can unmute your mic so I can quickly answer that? Okay, HODs, maybe you can help us. I don't know exactly the question regarding that. I'll continue.
okay. Thank you so much. Okay, you have any question before our tutor continue? So you can signify if there is anything to be clarified. Someone asked the meaning of SQL now. Maybe the person joined late, and I think on the group,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, okay. All right, thank you. Can you maybe you can make clear from that like meaning of SQL? Okay, and after that, Ibrahim has a question, or let us take Ibrahim questions too. Ibrahim, what's your question, please?
Okay. Brian, you can ask the question.
Uh, the double precision and I didn't get that part.
Okay. Okay.
Oh
As
yeah,
since you finished, you can mute your mic.
okay. Aziz Yusuf too.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Abdulmuiz. My question is that you mentioned something like PS, SPM, and IEM during the time. Can you please clarify what do you mean by what those terminologies or
Okay. So let me just start from the first question. SQL is structured query language. It is a kind of language that is in a query type, in a structured query form. Now use as an example, we have different type of data. We have structured data, we have unstructured data, and we have semi-structured data. So sorry, please, can you all mute your mic so that there's not going to be interference between noise anywhere? Okay, thank you very much. So, like I was saying earlier, we have structured data, we have unstructured, and we have semi-structured data. Now, structured data are data that are clean, like the likes of the data we do all work with, like you see some data on column sets, you see some data on UNICEF, WHO, you see some data on World Bank Group. So all these ones are actually structured data. They are clean data. They come in the normal CSV formats, Excel formats. Those are actually what's called structured data. Now, semi-structured data are data that they are clean, but not as clean as structured data. For a simple example, I believe some of us should have actually, we should know what they call JSON, JavaScript Object Notations. Now, JSON actually does not come in the normal formats like CSVs. CSV are actually called comma separated values. So JSON actually comes as a JavaScript format that is going to be encoded in a dictionary. Now, structured query language means this is a language that the queries are structured. That's what I was saying earlier, that they are in form of English language. I am going to the market. Now I want to say I am going to the market. I am coming back home now. That is just it. How do I join I am
Yes.
coming then back with home?
What a
How do I
child.
join everything together? That is exactly, thank you very much. JavaScript object notations. That's the meaning of JSONs. Now, that is what SQL is all about. How do I join this together with this to bring up something? Let me give a typical real life scenario. Now, we all know, most especially the females in the meeting, guys can actually, you can just come up with something, maybe like just wearing anything, you don't even care about the color combinations or all, you just go out. Now for a woman, before a woman can actually go out, she would have to check what's it called, the colors of her clothes. Does it match with the trousers or the skirt she's wearing? And does it match with, maybe she's using a typical kind of band? Does it match? Now, how do you know if the shirt is matching with the trouser? How do you know if the shirt and trouser is actually matching with the kind of shoe or the kind of cover slippers you're actually wearing? That is how SQL works. For your brain to be able to interpret that, this is how it works. That is what SQL is all about. I want to select from my wardrobe clothes that are only green in color. I want to select my wardrobe clothes that are only green in color. That is why myself as a person, I believe humans are more of like a programming language. But the only thing is, our programming language, the way it executes is in nanoseconds, even lesser than nano. Let me just put semi-nanoseconds. In the sense that if I'm actually going out tomorrow and the only clothes I want to wear tomorrow is actually green with a combination of black, automatically my brain is going to process it that green and black is inside this so cupboard. I should find it here. That is how SQL works. That is how programming language works. Now that is actually for that. Now for Ibrahim, if I should remember your question, you said you don't grab the differences between double precisions and numeric. Now double precision is similar to float. Float is actually what they call decimal. For a simple example, you have something like 2.5, you have
My
something
son
like
should get this.
3.5, you have something like so on and so forth. That's float, and that's how double
Son of
precision
this
actually
is a
works.
data type.
It means
Jot
you
them down.
want your
Say out
table
10,
to
9 time. If we talk about
collect
data,
decimal. If you should put
yes.
your table data
Get
type
it right.
as a integer, it is not going to accept a float. That is not going to accept a decimal for you. It is only going to accept integer as a whole number. But the moment you actually set your data type as float, What I mean by setting, I'm going to actually stop today before the end of the class. So what I mean by setting is, if maybe you created, okay, for a typical example, let me use the real life scenario, your cupboard. Now in your cupboard, maybe one of your younger ones, where you are actually putting clothes, he or she does not know. He just comes and then he carried his or her slippers and just put it inside the cupboard where you put clothes. You know, if you should come back and find this kind of scenario, the first thing you are going to do is you are going to be, you are like, let's just be like, you are going to be bored, or you are going to be angry. Why are you angry? Because this is actually a specific place, like a unique place. This place is only unique for clothes and not for slippers. That is exactly the way programming works. The moment you actually set your table to be integer and you input a float number, it is going to bring out an error that this so particular column in this so table only accepts integer. The same way when you saw what's it called? Your wardrobe that is meant for clothes. You saw a slippers there or a shoe, a pair of shoe. The same way you're actually going to the command going is the same way the system is going to react. That is why for every computer system they call it garbage in, garbage out. It is what you give to the system gives back to you. If you give to the system that I only want column I only want numbers as a whole number in this particular column. If anybody should actually input float there, that's a decimal, it's going to bring out an error. Double precision also works in the same way. The only differences between the three is numeric. If you want to use numeric, you have to specify the number of decimal forms you want it to accept. For a typical example, you put something like numeric, then you put open brackets. Either you want it in 3 decimal form, you want it in 4 decimal form, you want it in 5 decimal form. So maybe for a typical example, I created a column named, let me just put as score. Then and I put numeric. Then what I'm now going to do is you can put numeric or score, comma, whatever decimal point you want, maybe in 3 decimal form, in 4 decimal form. Whereas double precision and float, you don't need to put it. Automatically, whatever decimal form you put there is what is going to accept. I hope I've actually answered the right question. Now to Aziz Yusuf. Okay, Aziz Yusuf said, if I could remember the question, you said I should differentiate between SaaS, IaaS, and PAS. Now, these are actually what's it called? These are data engineering principles. So let me write it out so I can see. We call it S, small letter A, small letter A, it's S. Then we have I, small letter A, small letter A, it's S. Then we have P, small letter A, small letter A, S. Now, at the same time, we still have more of them. For a typical example, we have FAS, functional as a services, and we have community as a services. Now, FAS means software as a services. What software actually means is the code behind has been inputted into a particular application. The only thing you need to do is you don't need to know what the code is. You don't need to execute the code yourself. What you just need to do is interact with the application. For a typical example, we all know many is what there are popular social media, WhatsApp, Twitter, and post as an example. The only thing you need to do is just chat. Go to the person's chat, then type whatever message you want to type, then it's going to deliver. The ways the process actually delivers, maybe from your own side, the number of servers is actually connected to, maybe is it a premium host or a cloud host, how does basically the interconnection occurs, you don't know and you don't even need to know. The only thing you need to know is just type in the message, then it's going to deliver to the person. The person will also reply your message, it's going to deliver to you. That is software as a services. All the code has been embedded into one application. Then the only thing you need to do as a user is to interact with the application. Now, a simple example of this is the use of Excel. The only thing you need to do is just, you notice anything you want to do in Excel, you have to put the equal sign. Once you put the equal sign, whatever you are typing, Excel is going to bring out a reference of it. Maybe you are typing PX lookup. When you type XF, Excel is going to bring out the remaining function. That's the remaining other part which is lookup for you. That is software as a services. IaaS is infrastructure as a services. This is only limited to system administration users. For example, the likes of database administrator, the likes of developer administrator. It is only limited to them. For a typical example, they will be the one to write the code themselves. They will be the one to actually debug whatever is going on, and they will be the one to maintain the system. That is IaaS. PaaS actually means platform as a services. Platform as a services are a typical example of that is if you want to log into your Facebook. Maybe you don't want to download the application is very large, which is SaaS. Now you log into your Facebook using the web version. That particular link, what led to the creation of that link is actually the PaaS. Those are the developers. They create it back end, you interact with the front end. Please, hope I have been able to answer this question.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. Yeah, it remains one question, which is explain about SQL. Like, what is SQL? Just
Okay,
for a
if I
minute.
just do justice to that, I said SQL means structured query language. That's a language that is in a structured format. That is a language you need to compose like the way you are composing English. The way it is coming to your head is the way you are putting it down, and it is bringing up whatever you want it to bring. That is the meaning of SQL. Okay, it seems like Felix is having a question. You can mute your mic.
Yes, sir. So I don't know if you have made mention about it because I joined quite late. So to my understanding, and I just want to clarify something. SQL is like a language. Why this Postgre SQL is a database, right?
Hey,
Okay, Felix, I was not with you. You said what?
Okay, sir. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, I said I don't know if you have said this earlier, but I just want to just ask to clarify myself. I said SQL is like a language, and this Postgre SQL is the database.
Okay, okay. Now, thank you, Felix. Let me just answer your question. You see, we have database as a whole. Now we have data house. We have data lakes. Data lakes is actually let me just take it as the head, followed by a data warehouse, then followed by a database. Postgres SQL is, let me put it this way, Postgres SQL is not only a database. Let me put it like that. Why is that? This is how it is. In a typical example, you have what was it called? I'm not sure if we are all familiar with Python. Yeah, Python actually has different frameworks. Okay, you're all familiar with Python. Python actually has different frameworks, and it has different attributes. For a typical example, inside Python, we have something called a function, we have something called a module, and we also have something called an operating system, which is an OS. Now, this three is exactly the same way. SQL is actually SQL as a whole is the language. Postgres is, let me put it as the database containing the language. What I mean by database containing the language is if you want to write, you can actually create a database in Postgres format, you can create a database in SSS format, and you can create a database in MySQL format. That is why these three are actually having what they call different frames and different syntax formats. Please, I hope Felix is actually with me. Okay. I think you are okay with that. So, is there any other question?
no, sir. Please, you can go on. Thank you.
Okay, so I think I've been able to clarify what we call data types. Now, if you are working with a data type, you will definitely need to work with what we call constraints. You will definitely need to work with what we call constraints. Now, constraints are actually, let me just put it as, okay, this scenario. In a class, we have maybe let me put it as in a school. Yes, in a school, we have set of students, like different set of groups of students. We have now in we have a different set of students, different set of classes. In the school, we have something they call prefect. You have your head boy, you have your head girl, you have your library prefect, and you have assembly prefect and things like that. Those are the constraints in the school. It means if you want to, if they want to represent, or if the school needs someone to represent them, these are actually the people that are going to be picked. This means these people are the unique set of people in that school. Maybe the school wants to go for a competition, the school needs what's it called, they want to maybe receive an award, something like that. They will never pick someone that is not part of this particular group. Those group are what they call constraints. Constraint actually enforces your table. You already put the data type, but it enforces it and it puts a particular set of conditions in it. That is what constraint means. Your head boy is actually the number one, what's it called? The number one, let me put it as citizen in the whole school. Your head boy is actually the number one citizen in the whole school. That's your head boy. Your head girl is going to be the number one citizen when it comes to student part in the whole school. These are your constraints in that school. Constraint actually is a set of conditions. They put conditions for whatever things you're actually doing. Now, most of the constraints we have the premium key, the foreign key, the unique, not, check, and defect. I'm going to introduce of them. Premium key actually is the head boy. That is the head boy in your school. Premium key is the head boy in your school. Unique means in your school you have a male and you have a female. You don't want any other gender, male and female. Those are the two genders in your school. It means the unique set of genders in your school are male and female. If anybody should actually come and the gender is actually different from male and female, your school is going to reject them. That's unique. Now, foreign key is used in looking up a primary key. How? This is what I mean. You have two particular set of schools. Each school is actually having a head boy. Now, whenever they want to refer to maybe school A and school B, whenever they want to refer to school B number one citizen, they are going to refer to him as the head boy. Whenever they want to refer to school A number one citizen, they are going to refer to him as head boy. So it means you have head boy A and head boy B. They are both the same thing, but they are in different schools. That is what foreign key is. Primary key is the one in school A. Foreign key is the one in school B. If you want to refer to the two of them, you call them head. They are both head boys. This is actually how primary key and foreign key works. And please note, primary key and foreign key, they are also unique. What I mean by unique is you don't have repetitions and you don't have duplicates in them. That is why whatever thing you want to do is you need to, whatever column, sorry, you need to be very careful. It should not have replications. The reason why I'm saying this is the moment you want to alter the table, dropping a constraint of primary key is very, very hard and a foreign key. Why? If you should drop a constraint of foreign key, everything attached to that primary key or foreign key is going to be deleted. Maybe for example, you have 5 separate tables. Now you have a primary key, foreign key. Like I said earlier, foreign key is used in finding a primary key. School A, school B, head boy A, head boy B. If you want to refer to school A, number one citizen, you call him head boy A. If you want to refer to school B, you call him head boy B. So it means head boy A is in school A and head boy B is in school B. Now, if you want to find head boy A in school A, through the use of head boy, that's what we call it foreign key. The primary key in each school are the head boys, but if you want to use them, to find one another, so if you want to use them to find each other, you refer to them as their foreign key. So it means school A is the primary key and school B is the foreign key of school A. Head boy A can be the foreign key of head boy B, and head boy B can be the foreign key of what's it called of head boy A. But head boy A is a primary key in his own school, and head boy B is a primary key of his own school. That's the difference between primary key and foreign key. Unique, like I said earlier, you don't want duplicates in your data. It has to be different. That is unique. Not null means you don't want any place in your data to actually to be left untouched. Maybe for a typical example, I'm putting in names, I'm inserting names into my columns. So I did insert, what was it called? My column is consisting of teachers, like subject, students, and score they got. So I now set the particular subject column to be not null. It means I don't want the place to be empty. That's what they call the null values. I don't want any null value in that column. Once I put anything like a null value, the system is going to signify there is an error. Why? The constraint, that is the condition you put in this column is it should not be empty. That is not null. Now we have something they call check. For a typical example, if you want to enter SS2 now, like the one that was recently being done, university, correct, last 2 years or last year, that the Senate were actually saying anybody interested than 18 should not be admitted into a university. That is the check. That is, they should check for the student's age. If the age is lesser than 18, deny the person admission. That is check. Now, default is, maybe for example, you all know there are just two genders, male and female. Although there are different forms of gender now in the world now. So, but the two ones are the males and the female. So you want it to be, maybe if the person did not input anything, you just put the default of male there, put the default of female. These are the constraint form. Now, let us now work with these two forms, the data types and the constraint form. Now, if you are using like I'm using, so we are starting the practical aspect now. I want to create a new file, so I'm going to be creating a new file, which I'm going to be naming. Let me just name it HOD spec.
Yeah, well done. In the next 3 minutes or 2 minutes, we'll be having a break. So I just want to inform you, is the call is about to end. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. So I'm creating a new file. Now, whatever file you want to store in VS Code, you have to store it with the dot extension of the programming language you are using. For example, if you are using SQL, you put it as .SQL. If you are using Python, you put it as .py. If you are using C language, you put it as .c. If you are using PHP, you put it as .php. So whatever programming language, you put the extension in front so that you'll be able to execute that particular programming language inside. Now, what I'm going to do is I want to create HOD spec.sql. That's what we'll be putting, we'll be writing on our SQL. So, okay. Then I just create my file. Now, this is actually the SQL. Now, if you notice, I'm having PGSQL disconnected. It means my server, which is the cloud-based I explained earlier, has been disconnected. So the next thing I need to do is I need to connect back. Then automatically I'm connected now. You see something like a green arrow here. So it means it's actually connected. Now, like I said earlier, let me just go back there. We've talked about data forms, we've talked about constraint type. Now, this is where we'll be doing it. This is where we'll be doing the practical. But during the practical, I'll be doing some explanations of it. We have categories of SQL command. You all know we have been seeing it. We have select, we have from, we have where, we have compile, we have join, we have join after join at all. Where does each of these categories, where do they belong to? So I'm quickly going to explain the three categories we have. We have something called DDL, that's data definition language. Data definition language is used to define and modify structures of your database. That is, what do you want to do? What do you need in your database? For a typical example, if I want to create a new wardrobe now, I'm going to be in need of nail, I'm going to need of an hammer, I'm going to need of some wood, I'm going to need to draw the structure of the kind of wardrobe I need. That is your data definition format of your wardrobe. Before I start putting anything inside my wardrobe, I need to craft it out. Okay, how do I need it? Okay, this is how I need it. I need it to be 2 steps down. What's it called? With a shoe rack on that. Then I should be able to put books on one side, plate on one side. I should be able to have some hangers and drawer at one side. That is definition form. That is, you are defining the way you need your wardrobe to be. Data manipulation language is okay. Once I'm done with designing my wardrobe and they have done what's called the carpenter has actually done his work, the finisher has actually done his work, and the wardrobe is ready. Now, I'm going to be the one to decide for okay. Let me put my clothes on the upper part. Let me put my books on the lower part. Put this on this. Put this on this. And this on this. That is actually what's called the manipulation language. The control language is I need some set of keys on some parts of my wardrobe. That is, I don't want everybody to just have access to it. I want to put in some padlock. Maybe there are some places I'm going to be locking when I'm going out. There are some places I don't need to lock. There are some places I want to put maybe like, if you have money, you can use a fingerprint locking. That is that type of language. Now the transaction control language is actually that one, but this is what banks use mostly. I'm going to be